everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Beach Court Podcast. We are back again. It's a pleasure to be back with you. We've got an exciting episode coming up. We got a long, awesome interview with Rahul Reddy. He was recently in Japan, finished 40th place in the Fukuoka Champions League, which is in our Atlanta format. So make sure you stay tuned for that. You're going to want to hear that full episode. After that, we'll make sure we have our trivia and sponsor segment. I'm going to try to stop Maddox and Parker with my trivia today that I figured out 0.2 seconds before this episode. So wasn't too hard for them. Maddox is going to take us through a fun, cool segment called Price is Right.
That's
that
too
much.
much.
That's too much.
That's
Okay.
too much.
I was sick this past week, and when I'm out sick, I think of sitting home in school when I was sick, and would have Prices Right on during the day. So
11 o'clock,
a little inspired segment from my recent illness, but we're back. We're feeling good, and it's good to be here.
Yeah, so we'll go over some cards, coming up in the format that are currently in the format, and how much me and Parker know about the cost of those cards. And then lastly, we'll just give some small notes on Stockholm. It's next weekend. If you don't know, you probably should because you're going. If you're listening to this episode, obviously you're already preparing. We'll give our thoughts on the meta and where it's going to be shaken out. But yeah, let's get started. I'm Eric Ridgway. That's Max Corcoran, Parker Greenwald. Crew's back as normal. How was your weekend? What did you guys do this weekend?
I feel like this is always the answer when y'all ask me
you
nowadays.
did something, bro. I saw it.
I did something?
You went to a market.
Oh yeah, I went to the Asian night market after work, and I was like barely awake, but Alexa wanted to go so badly. But it was fun. Smelled amazing.
Yeah.
There's just all Asian food just being
Ooh.
cooked right out there in the street.
You get a little bit of the Japan throwback vibes, a little bit.
Yeah, a bit. It was like mostly like Thai.
Okay.
And then like I actually don't think there's any Korean food, but yeah, there's a couple Japanese, but it was like a lot of Thai stuff. But
Was Crispin out there cooking?
Crispin was, yeah. We had it was like a sausage on a stick kind of thing, but also had rice noodles inside of it. It's actually like pretty
Wait,
good.
sausage on a stick with rice noodles inside.
Yeah, there's like kind of baked into like, it kind of looked like an egg roll sort of, but
All right,
it was good.
Sounds good. Sounds yummy. Glad you're able to make it out there. You got to make some sacrifices sometimes. So glad you're able to have some fun this weekend amidst all the work. Max, what about you? What was your weekend up to?
Yeah, for me it was nice and casual. We had pre-release this past weekend. Had a fun time at locals. On Thursday, I wanted to give Turbo Lost Box one last ride before it rotates, so made top 8 with some Turbo Lost Box. Unfortunately, hit Parker in Swiss, and he was playing Lost Tina, also giving the deck the one last ride.
He had to destroy me. I had no ace spec in my deck too.
You didn't have an ace spec?
Well, also Parker told me in round 1 he had a proxy in his deck, so he took a Whalelord off the prizes. I guess as a Greninja or something.
Yeah, so I guess when I was making it, I was proxying stuff, and I had a Dodrio as my Blood Moon and a Whalelord as my Radiant Greninja. So I played round 1 with those proxies in my deck.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Whalelord kill 99.
No, I was just like, yeah, no, I just couldn't play him.
It makes your lost zone selections easy though, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And other than that, we did host a pre-release at Nakama, midnight pre-release. Again, super cool opportunity. I've kind of seen, I see Tricky Germ will do the video sometimes. We do a midnight pre-release. So actually got to do one in Jacksonville, which was a lot of fun. So Friday night, Friday night had a crew out, opened some packs, played some of the new set. Was cool. I actually was lucky enough to pull 2 and Zoroark EX's full arts, not the alt arts, but the full arts, which is
that's crazy.
Super cool. But one person there pulled 2 SIR Lily's Clefairy EX, so I was just baffled. But I mean, it tells you
how many packs did he pull that? Did he buy any extra packs, or was that
this was just in the packs you got for the pre-release? It's like the 6 or 7. Like he pulled 1 out of the kit. It's like, oh my gosh, you got it! That's so sick. And we are all opening the packs afterwards. Like, and we're like, no shot. He pulled another one.
Bro casually opened $1,000.
Yeah, I think we had
That's
like 2
too much.
I think we had like 2 Volcanion EXs too. But yeah, it was a fun time. So hopefully, if y'all did make it out to pre-release, hopefully you get to make it to one soon.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go on the record and say I've seen a lot of people saying I pulled this SIR, I pulled this SIR. Feels like the SIRs are more plentiful in this set, which is hopefully a good thing for the economy of Pokemon. as we transition to our That's Too Much segment later. Yeah, my weekend had a lot of fun. Friday night went to the local hockey team. It was Wizards night, so they had their Wizarding jersey on, and we're doing like some Wizard stuff. So shout out to my friends Manda and Wale. Got us some sweet level tickets for the game. So had a good time.
How many
Friends
points
with
in
Wale,
Gryffindor
bro?
score?
How would you say?
How many points in Gryffindor score?
It was not Gryffindor. It was yeah, I don't know the team's name that we were playing against because I didn't really care. But
Shout out Jacksonville Icemen. For
Yeah,
our
Jacksonville
team, I don't know what
Icemen.
their team was. So.
it was the Orlando something.
Oh, the
Who were
Solar
Orla-
Bears.
Yeah, them. It was them.
Yeah, Orlando Solar Bears, the other goats of Florida minor league ice hockey.
They kicked our butt, anyways.
Shout out to all the ice hockey fans.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, ice hockey is a really huge sport, and it can be fun when you're watching it. Like, it's hard to follow that puck sometimes.
No, it is fun to watch, actually.
Yeah, it is fun to watch. So I did that on Friday, and then Saturday, it's the Players Championship weekend here in North Florida. It's a very large golf event here, for those of you that don't know. It's like golf's fifth major that people, call the major.
That's sweet.
Perfect weather yesterday, man. It was just beautiful. It got a little windy in the
It
afternoon,
wasn't
but
okay. I was gonna say it wasn't windy.
it got a little windy, but like it was just like, and for this time of year, the weather we got today is typical for March, and which, if you guys don't know, in North Florida we got a bunch of rain today. Delayed the tournament. They were able to finish the course, like the record, 72 holes, 36, 72 hole tournament, but there was no winner, and they ran out of daylight. So JJ Spawn and Roy McIlroy will play 3-hole aggregate tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. That's your golf segment, your golf recap. This is now a sports podcast, in case you didn't know.
Also, my quick pick, because we don't know who won. I just want to congratulate McIlroy for winning the Players Championship. Maybe I'll be right, maybe I won't be. You'll know
You
on
got a 50-50
Thursday. You'll know when you listen to this.
You got a 50-50
It's
shot.
crazy because I remember Rory McIlroy like right out of college. He looks like old now.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
I'm
did you
like,
hear his comments this week
what?
about like YouTube? So basically, like, there was the Creator Classic, and which was a bunch of content creators doing, an 8-hole playoff at TPC, and they were asking him like, "Are you gonna watch that?" And he's like, "Nah, I'd rather like watch this tournament. Like, I'd rather lose and not play Saturday and Sunday and watch this tournament than watch that." So kind of like a boomer take, but
It is
Rory
a
McIlroy,
boomer
if you're listening to
take.
this podcast, we'd love to have you on.
Also, Rory McIlroy is 35. Like, he's not even old. Like,
No, I mean, like, literally boomer comments, man. Like,
Right,
boomer-
right. I was just saying. I just remembered my image of him is him like choking on. I don't remember what tournament it was.
It was Masters, wasn't it?
I thought I was gonna say the Masters. He had like a fucking
all
7
right,
stroke.
you're losing me, y'all. You're losing me.
All right.
Remember, teal mask, ogre bond.
Yeah, attached
Teal
draw
back to
one.
the
Bring
grass.
it
Yeah.
Teal
back to the grass. Bring it back to the Pokemon.
All right. Anyways, let's get back to anyway, so that's your sports conversation for this week. But anyways, if you're still with us, thank you, because next up is our interview with Rahul Reddy. Again, he finished 40th in the Japan Champions League in Fukuoka, and he's prepping for 5 weeks of travel plus another Champions League. So we kind of just dive into his life and how he does all this, his journey to become a Pokemon player full time while also working a full time job. And we also just talk about joining together in Atlanta format. So without further ado, let's get you over to the interview with Rahul Reddy. Hey everyone, my name is Eric Ridgway. I'm the host of the Beach Court Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And if you're enjoying it, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe on this video on YouTube. It would really help out the podcast a lot. We've got more episodes, highlights, and more coming your way. Thanks for listening, and now back to the show. All right, everyone, we're here with Rahul Reddy. We're going to talk about Japan, everything Japan, and talk a little bit about Atlanta. Because if you haven't heard, Rahul finished 40th place in Fukuoka recently in Japan in a Champions League tournament. So him and Tord played the same 60. So we're going to dig into his thoughts and insights of how he prepared for the tournament and how he's preparing for Atlanta and using that, and even how he's preparing for his next Japanese tournament because he did so well that he can now go to another. So Rahul, welcome back. I know it's been a while since Worlds, but how's life been for you since Worlds? It seems like you've been traveling the world.
Yeah, honestly, just it's been pretty good. But, great to be back here, guys. Just a lot of life experiences, a lot of just exploring new places, and honestly, it's been a pretty fun season so far. Can't complain.
watching a little bit of One Piece, staying up late with friends, having a good time. So thanks for being here. We'll get right into it, Max. If you want to hit him with the quick hitters.
Yeah, of course. I think the coolest part about your run is right. Japan and Fukuoka was the weekend before UIC, so
Yeah.
top 64 in Fukuoka, and then followed with 32 in a different format,
Yeah.
different deck, UIC. So just on a killer run. But again, we are going to be talking about Japan. A lot of our listeners got to know you a little bit from our last interview with you right after the World Championship. So anyone who hasn't seen that and is a Rahul fan, make sure you check that out. But all right, you're in Japan. I know you weren't there for too long, but want to talk food in Japan. You know it's famous for its food, right? Like, what's that one dish that you had to make sure you have before you leave Japan? Like, no way I can go home without getting this.
Ooh. Well, I'm a big like sushi person. Where it's like one of my
Ooh.
favorite foods. I think like after Worlds 2023, I got home and I just was kind of sad at like how expensive sushi was at home.
Yeah.
And also like the quality is just better over there. Like you could go to like a 2-star sushi restaurant there and it's still better than something you get over here unless you're paying like exorbitant amount of money. So I think that's like my number one. I think my number two is just like I like the convenience stores quite a bit.
7-Eleven.
Like 7-Elevens, Family Mart, Lawson's, whatever, right? Like I like the fried chicken. I like the bread. It's a very weird thing to say, but like the bread is way like softer. I think is like the best way to describe it.
Like the sandwich, like you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the pre-made sandwiches, like crust
Exactly.
cut off and all that.
So
Yeah.
I like having those kind of like when I'm on the move, I guess, is as like proverbially, so to speak. So those two
Gotcha.
things.
So definitely the type of guy who's like raiding the 7-Eleven before that last train to the airport.
Yeah,
like-
exactly. Yeah. I'm heading to the airport and I'm just like, might as
Yeah.
well like put some stuff in
Yeah.
the bag.
Are you a
Mhm.
spam guy? The little spam sandwiches they do in the rice, or
I do like those ones. For the rice balls, my favorite is a pickled plum, which is like an
Ooh.
interesting one. Because it doesn't actually have any fish in it, but it's just like it's like the sourness of the plum goes really well with the saltiness of the the
Okay.
rice.
okay?
And then my favorite sandwich is the pork cutlet one.
All right.
Just because I don't know, it's pork's pretty good.
Thankfully, I had dinner before this because you're making me want more.
Oh. All right. Back. I know you've been traveling a lot this year. So, and we're trying a lot of flights. Maybe we're trying to cut some of that down. So maybe it's Japan, maybe it's somewhere else. But if we at the Beach Core podcast could gift you a teleporter, it would go right behind you and could bring you to any one location, just like blink of an eye.
Yeah,
Where would it be?
I was probably just gonna have to be Japan at this point.
Going
Like,
right back.
I
Right
feel
back
like-
to 7-Eleven.
yeah, I mean, for everyone who went during Worlds, that was like a little snippet of just like how cool it is over there. Obviously, living anywhere or living in a different location has its own challenges that come with it. But as like a visitor, it feels like one of those places where as long as you respect them, they respect you. And it's just like it's a mecca for Pokemon, which is like the coolest thing in the world. Like
Yeah.
you go
yeah.
there and like card shops galore, like 2 to 3 locals at every shop every day. Like you could play 15 locals a week if you wanted to. You could play like the equivalent of like 15 challenges a week if you wanted to. But it's just really cool that you can play as much Pokemon as you want. You can basically just enjoy the hobby as much as you want over there. And at the very least, like I really like the food, so can't complain.
There's definitely like Pokemon was like mainstream there compared to like in
Yeah.
the United States. Like, it's like this
Yeah.
niche hobby. Like when we were there for Tokyo for Yokohama Worlds, it was like it is mainstream. This is the last thing. So, all right, last quick hitter. Again, most people, if they know Rahul Reddy, they probably know Lugia. And we are transitioning some Pokemon talk, and Lugia V-Star is rotating, unfortunately. You've had a lot of success, been playing it since 2022. So let's talk, what was one of your favorite Lugia lists that you ever played? Maybe it was Super Broken early Lugia, or maybe some of your more recent innovations, or maybe even the list that I know you gave to a few people for Vancouver that you would have played if you could have made it. So,
So
Definitive
personally, I
Lugia.
think that I actually didn't have as much success with Broken Lugia as other people did. That format, I was a Reggie's man back then, but like my group, Isaiah, Reagan,
Right.
like Reagan most
Reagan.
notably,
Yeah,
had the
Reagan.
most success with the deck back then. I think my favorite iteration was actually Single Strike, because I was kind of late to the party, I guess, like so to speak, because Reagan and Grant Shen were like kind of just jamming the deck, even when people didn't really give it credit. And like Reagan won regionals, I think Grant got second. And then I didn't pick it up till Pittsburgh of the following season. And I remember just like kind of walking into top 8. Like it didn't even feel difficult. And I was like, this deck just if it sets up, it has everything it needs and it goes. And then I played it again for Toronto, but by that point Charizard had started picking up steam, and that matchup was pretty bad. So
Yeah,
at that point
pretty
I already hit like the tail end of
no.
when Lugia was good. And then the World's list obviously will always have a special place in my heart because of how unique it was, how many people came together to collaborate on that. Like a lot of people call them like the greatest minds in the game right now, like Vic, Isaiah, like a lot of these guys kind of like put a lot of their innovations in it, and I was able to do it some success.
Just a bonus question for everyone at home: is Lugia going to win again before it rotates? Yeah, 2
I
more
hope
tournaments.
I hope so. I'm going to both of those. So
Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
I'm really hoping
One last ride, one last flying high.
well, at least one of those I will be playing. I think just because like I do have a lot of faith in the deck, and a lot of my students I have given the list to. While they haven't traveled so far, one of my people that played the exact 16 I put in my article did get 16th at Vancouver. And then a couple of my students as well are like pretty much dominating their cups right now with it. Now I do not put as much stock into cups, but I do think there's merit to the
Yeah.
strength of Lugia, especially
Yeah.
at the end of the format when people aren't respecting it as much. So I think between Brisbane and Stockholm, at one of those at least, I'm probably going to take it. But more likely Stockholm than Brisbane, because Brisbane usually has like its own little weird meta, because it's going to be a lot of the Japanese players who don't really get to travel the world. So they're probably playing the decks that they're used to, and then the Japanese players who are coming down to try to snag that win for an invite.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so yeah, let's transition a little bit more Pokemon talk. You've been
Absolutely.
traveling the world, like we said,
Yep.
a lot this year. And as my understanding, or at least as of our last discussion,
Mhm.
you still have a 9 to 5.
I do. I still do. Not to like raise it. This is going to sound
Sure.
a lot worse than it comes off. But currently, as we know, a lot of political changes have been happening in the U.S. and the landscape.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
do am contracted with the U.S. government. So my position is a little bit at limbo. I'll find out more in May. So
Sure.
not too nervous on my end, because if it does happen, it might be my chance to take that leap into full-time Pokemon I've been looking to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But as of now, I am still employed and working
Yeah.
away programming.
Yeah. So at what point in your Pokemon career did you understand that you can do Pokemon full time for the most part, and like you do content, you do,
Mhm.
work. At what point in your career did you say like, yeah, I can do this, right? And I can make this work? Because like there's a lot of players, especially listen to this podcast, that are kind of like part-time Pokemon but do work
Mhm.
full time. So like what kind of like pushed you over the edge to like commit to playing a lot?
I think that when I first started working, because I graduated in 2019, fall, this like spring of 2019, that whole like era of like pre-COVID was like me looking for a job, kind of getting acclimated, getting adjusted to like going from your nonchalant schedule of doing whatever, waking up whenever in college to all that. And for a little bit, I'll be completely honest, I hated the balance. Like I absolutely hated trying to balance. At that point, I'd gotten into a new relationship as well. So I was trying to balance relationship, trying to balance Pokemon, and trying to balance my new work life. And it was really overwhelming for the most part. Like I remember going to OCIC that year and I went 5-4 in a year where everyone said, oh, we barely hit this threshold for kicker. Like going 5-4, like almost every 5-4 will get 100 something points, puts you in such a good spot. And I remember that was like one of my most like frustrating moments, because um, I had failed as a player because I just hadn't put the effort in. I hadn't put the time in. And so over COVID, I kind of like got the blessing of being able to work from home. And so during that time, I kind of like took a step back from Pokemon, allowed myself to, I guess, rediscover my love for the game and the people in it. And so the season I came back in London, I didn't really travel too much, didn't do too much that season. And then same with the Japan season, like both seasons were kind of just like, whatever, like we'll go to stuff. And then last year, I kind of started taking a different look at life, because over the summer of 2020, this is like a little morbid, but a little bit good. But in
Sure.
the summer
No,
of
keep rambling.
2022,
Yeah.
summer of 2023, my grandmother passed away. And she was someone who like,
Sorry to hear that.
it's all good. She's in a better place, But she grew up with, she like raised me. And then in the last couple of years of her life, while she was like, losing her sense of self, like she lived with us, and we had the privilege of taking care of her. So it kind of gave me a different perspective on life, where it was just like, I want to kind of explore. I want to see all these things and do all these things that I haven't done yet, because I'm 29, and like even then I haven't done so much in the world. And so as of last season, I kind of took that leap to like start going to some more European regionals, because I'm East Coast in the US, which makes it a lot easier for me to travel. Um, and I was like, well, like the cost is like roughly the same to go to like a West Coast regional that is to go to Europe, but I can like go a day early and I can like explore. And I feel like most European locations, you can kind of knock off a lot of the stuff in the areas pretty relatively quickly, because there's a lot of public transportation, or if worst case, you just Uber, whatever. So this season, I kind of just like let loose completely. because I remember I was having a conversation with the boys at Worlds. We were all like the final kind of like dinner before everyone head off their own ways. I remember vividly thinking, I'm not really going to care that much about Pokemon next year. This next season, it's going to be kind of a chill year for me. I'm just going to show up, play what you guys tell me, trust it a little bit, kind of go on my like, I'm just here to have fun arc. And I have been doing that for a little bit. But I think when I start thinking about the game like that, it gets a lot easier to care. Like, it gets a lot easier to care when I don't put the pressure on myself of if it's not winning, it's nothing. So I was also given a lot of like fortunate possibilities because I do have a lot more paid time off than others, and I can
Yeah.
program
Yeah.
on planes and stuff like that. So I am able to work a little bit more on the go. And I think what people don't understand is like I'm not always like chilling. It's like a lot of like dedication of like balancing. I gotta work when I gotta work. I gotta play Pokemon when I gotta play Pokemon, and I gotta travel when I gotta travel. So there's sometimes days when I get home, and I'm not kidding, guys. I'll sleep for like 13 hours straight sometimes when I get home from one of these long benders, just because my body can't keep up with it sometimes. But the biggest thing is like making sure I take care of all that and giving it 100% in whatever I'm doing at that moment. So if I'm working, I'm giving it 100% there, making sure that I'm making my employer and everyone who's believing in me they're proud. If I'm giving my 100% of Pokemon, giving it that, and then 100% as well when I'm traveling and just enjoying myself, like looking up the best places to eat, kind of like
Yep.
worst case, I can book a bus tour and it'll be me and a bunch of elderly people, and it's a lot of fun because they laugh at all my jokes.
I mean, I know one of my first like European tournaments was London 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I played Lugia single strike. But yeah, I just like did some random like photo tours and like pub tours, and like they're the best, man. Those kinds of experiences are awesome. But yeah, what's like one piece of advice you would give to someone if they were trying to do what you're doing? What's the one piece of advice or one realization you came to, like, yeah, this helped me when I did this helped me.
Kind of understand how you learn and how you like operate as a human being, because a lot of it is like from me, I learn a lot more from in-game play than and like watching videos. So like for a lot of the time, I'll just like have like VODs, other people's gameplay, or like if the boys are even testing, a lot of the time I won't actually engage in games on Discord. I'll just watch. And
Yeah.
for me, like that learning style helps out a lot because
Yeah.
when I go to other places or when I go to tournaments, I learn, I ask questions doing that rather than like um,
Sure.
just playing. And so doing stuff with purpose helps a lot more because that helps me get better at Pokemon. And also understanding that like sometimes you go like 4-4, man. Like sometimes it's not the end of the world.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Like I went to Birmingham and I started like I started like 4-2 and I went to 4-4 and I was just like, oh, I hit the 4th, I just didn't show it to my last round. But be present like for your friends or whatever you're there for. And if you don't day two, the added caveat is, well, you get an extra day to go explore, just
That's right.
I get to wake up, I get to go explore, and oh hey, someone made top 8. Let me run back to the venue real quick and see what's going on.
Yeah, that's right. Anything out of that section, Max?
Nah, I just love hearing that, right? Even as, a top player in the game saying like, hey, sometimes I show up and I don't do well. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's a game. We're supporting our friends and having fun while we're doing it.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to jump into some of the Japan stuff, right? So again,
nitty-gritty.
so first off, right, I mean, playing in Japan's, in Champions League, we hadn't really seen a lot of,
Yeah.
Western players go out and do this. So first off, like, how this idea had come together, and then like, did you and a group kind of plan to this, or just kind of all happen to pop over there for this most recent Champions League?
So the idea, I'll hand it to Fabian because he has currently been doing a lot more like trips out there and like kind of making the effort to go out there a lot more. And he got into the Champions League in February. Oh, not February, December, the Osaka one. So he went out there, and I think that was the first big splash that was made because he did get to 12-3. He did qualify for the Japan National Championships with a top 32 placement. And that was the first instance of like, I guess, a Western playing go over there doing quite well that wasn't already living there. Like we saw Antoine
Yeah.
top 4 a Champions League back in the day, and they had but they were living there at the time. So it's a little different of a scenario. Now, what I'll preface this with is like, I wanted to kind of do everything as properly as possible without like breaking any rules, because obviously I don't want to break a future opportunity for another player to go participate if they want to in the future, and obviously to be as respectful as humanly possible because it was very different. It was a very, very different environment. So I applied just off the idea of maybe I get in, maybe I don't, and same with Tord because if you get rejected from the first Champions League, they implemented a system, I think, starting this season, where it gives you like a pity timer. If you guys played any like gotcha games, where like the next one you get a higher odds of getting it. And there's like, dude, it's no joke. There's like 30,000, 40,000 people that are applying to each
Wow.
individual one, and there's only like 5,000 seats. So
Yeah.
I say only, as if it's like
Only, yeah, exactly.
It's only bigger than any tournament we've seen in the West.
exactly. And so Tord and I were both like incredibly fortunate to like high roll our way into a first time slot. So it was just like, whoa, like, and I think one of the Japanese players I talked to over the weekend did tell me that like Fukuoka is a little bit further. For you guys who are geographically challenged like I was when I got there, it is 5 hours by bullet train from Tokyo West. So to put it in perspective, I think there is a legitimate ferry you can take from there to get to Korea. So you're that like far. It was a long travel. I didn't really account for that, to be honest. But it was one of those things where like when everything started coming together, I remember Tord and I were thinking about it, and we had like made a group chat. Because Fabian's like the close like connection for all of us, and we're all like a friend adjacent, and so like doing a trip like this kind of like brings you all together, in a way. And so Fabian was kind of like the organizer, putting everything together. And Tord and I were thinking about it, and Tord's like, it's a week before UIC. I don't know if I want to go over there and like not put the time in for UIC, but I had felt pretty good about my Lugios going to UIC. And he felt pretty good about his Dragapult list. And I put a lot of time into Dragapult on ladder. And so I felt pretty confident that like if I have to switch to Dragapult last second, I'll be all good. And so when I left, my group was still pretty scrambling. I'm glad they came to a pretty good deck. But
Yeah,
sidebar, like I got to London on Wednesday night. I think at like 8 p.m. I got to the hotel and checked in, and I was like, yo, where's everyone at? And I remember Isaiah was like, yo, we're over here like in the conference room. We rented it out to test. And I was like, oh, is it cool if I bring like Tord and Nico over? And they were like, no. And I was like, what's up? And they were like, we have a deck for you. You're going to like it. That was the exact message that John said. And I was
that's
like,
pretty
oh,
funny.
we have a
That's pretty
deck.
funny.
But
They
anyway,
hand
like,
you Goldango, and it's like, what the?
exactly. But yeah, the whole group kind of came together, and Fabian and I kind of like lined up our trip. If you guys know Franco Takahashi, who is a former Florida player, he does live out there now, full time. He's Japanese, so he does live out there, and he's like living his best life. So I had planned to go see him for a day and just kind of spend time with him because, for everyone who doesn't know, weird small little world moment. But when I was an undergraduate at UCF Central Florida, he was doing his master's, so he was kind of the guy who drove me to cups or cities. Like we kind of had that special bond as like a
Love that.
teacher and student kind of thing. So it was kind of just like a good day to like catch up. Like I wanted to spend a day catching up with him and just talking about life and stuff, because you don't get to do that as much when the time zones are completely flipped.
Nope. No, you don't.
So it all kind of just came together. I let Fabian kind of make the master plan for the trip, and then we just executed the game plan. Just get in there and
Cool.
play some Pokemon.
Cool. Love
That's
that.
awesome. Yeah, so again, I know you mentioned already earlier that, you know, you got in like Monday, but you didn't even play any Pokemon until Wednesday, and it's a totally different format than you're used to. Brand new cards available.
Yeah.
Like, what was your prep like? I mean, and how did you go from quickly like saying, hey, I'm getting on a Wednesday, and then from going from there, like, okay, these are the decks I'm worried about. Here's the list I'm playing, and 40th place, right? Like,
Yeah.
how did that whole like prep process go, and
Um,
like how did it compare to what the tournament turned out to be?
Oh man, it's a lot. So I got in Monday, like pretty late in the evening, right? So I go over to Franco. We're just catching up on life stuff. And then I think Tuesday I was doing a little bit of just like walking around, exploring, buying some clothes. That was one of the reasons I did go. I'm a big Uniqlo guy, and shirts
There
are
you go.
pretty cheap over there compared to here. And when I'm just buying like solid color t-shirts, like just to wear on the daily, it's nice. So Franco and I were just like walking around talking, kind of figuring out the meta a little bit, and he was kind of giving me like his thoughts on the meta. He was giving me like some decks. He was telling me like things like walls and for alligator and stuff like that are real, and I'm over here like I don't know what those cards do. Um, so I'm over here a little bit
Same.
concerned. And by Tuesday night, I wasn't even thinking about the meta still. Like I was looking at some City League results, seeing that Pult was dominating, obviously, seeing that Bolt was dominating, obviously. Um, and so Tuesday or Wednesday morning is when Fabian and his brother came in, and we showered, got ready, and then we took the Bolt train to Nagoya, which is an hour and a half to 2 hours west of Tokyo. So in Nagoya, we had a card store, Toreka Camp. It's the store that sponsors like Yoshiyuki and some of the other top players
Cool.
in Japan. So we kind of made a pit stop over there to like, drop off some more play mats and do some other stuff there. And like, there's a new Pokemon Center, so we're gonna check that out. So Wednesday, I wanted to play locals. The other guys did not want to play locals. So we ended up just like dropping our stuff off, going to the Pokemon Center, going to the jump store, whatever. And then Wednesday night, Yoshiyuki messaged us at like 6 p.m. and said like, hey, I want to stream tonight because he's full-time content now. So he was like, I want to do a stream tonight. Do you guys want to come play some games against me? And we were like, sure. And so we kind of went over to his apartment. He set up a stream and he had like 10 decks built. And we kind of rolled a die, picked a deck, and played it against each other. And the first thing I noticed, like, as we started playing games, is how bad every single deck felt compared to what we have right now. And what I mean by that is, like, anyone who's already testing post-rotation for Atlanta kind of knows what I mean, where, like, Dragapult loses Lance, Sealstone, Luminion, Rotom, Radiant Greninja gone from most decks. You have less outs to, like, Pokestop is gone. So your aggro decks, the fast decks, even Bolt, has a much reliable time getting a turn 1 attack off. Like, all these decks just felt so much worse. I think the first deck that felt somewhat decent in my hands was Bolt. And it wasn't because Bolt itself. It was because of the Noctowl engine.
Noctowl, yeah.
And that was kind of the first, like, piece of my puzzle where, like, I had come to a conclusion immediately saying, like, I think Noctowl and Dracloak were the two best engines. But the problem with Bolt is if you go first, because every deck wanted to go second in the format, also a realization I made pretty quickly, which you guys should also keep in mind for Atlanta, that almost every deck wants to go second. So if a deck is choosing first, it's probably a fan Rotom engine. But if you go second on like the Dragapult mirror and you don't get a turn 1 Poffin and you just get Badooed, you're sitting there doing nothing. Like, you're like, oh, sick, man. Like, I got to find my Droopy somehow. Let me slam my Onos for 4 turns and try to find it. So I immediately came to those conclusions. Like, those pieces started falling together in my mind. And then Thursday, we made our way over to Fukuoka. And so Thursday was like a long travel day because I didn't really account for that. And once we got there, it was me, Fabian's brother, Tord, and another old school European player, Mark Lutz, who lives out there now. He has a shop over there. So I haven't seen that guy since like COVID. And I was like, yo, this guy's still alive, which is kind of funny. But we all got together. We started like jamming some games. And in the process, there was 2 other American players who were coming, Noah Yoshida and Carter. And Carter is doing a study abroad semester, and Noah's living over there with his wife currently. So the 2 of them were just like coincidentally like, oh, you guys are coming? Let's link up. And Fabian had made a couple of friends from the previous Champions League. And those 2 guys were super helpful. Like, they had their head in the meta, like they had been prepping for this, yada yada. And so Thursday, they sent us this Ogre box list, and they said, this is a new concept. Someone won a City League on Wednesday night with this. Until this point,
crazy.
Ogre box had not been a possibility. Like, until this point, people were playing like just straight Clefairy with like Ogerpon.
Yeah.
Green Ogerpon, which like made sense, right? Like, you're playing a Noctowl engine with that. But the Clefairy deck kind of fell short a little bit because Jamming Tower was pretty popular in the format. So Lily's Pearl wasn't really as good. I didn't have a great answer into like Goldengo and Arcaludon being one of the fringe decks that was pretty popular at the tournament. So as the process came together on Thursday night, we were doing a little bit of walking around. We got some ramen. At that point, I started getting sleepy. And so we went to a card store. And the cool thing about Japan, if you guys haven't gone, is that they have pre-built decks. Like, they have pre-built standard decks that you can just pick up for like the equivalent of like $40, $45. And so I picked up Bolt because I was confident that I wanted to play the Noctowl engine. And then Tord picked up like Pulse. Someone else picked up like Enzorark. And so we had like 5 people. So 5 people each picked up a singular deck because it was like, if we just split the cost of like $40, 5 different ways, it doesn't feel as bad. And so we were just jamming games with these pre-mades into each other. And then Tord was like, this Pult list sucks. And I was just kind of like, Bolt sucks, like after a couple games. So the next day morning, I built Ogre Box with the cards that we had like kind of laying around. And so I built this Ogre Box deck, and then Tord had like refined his Pult deck into like what's closer to his EYC deck with like a bunch more like consistency cards, reset stamps, stuff like that. And we were just kind of jamming the 2 decks against each other. We were just like, these 2 decks feel the best as we're playing. I think Pult is still one of the best decks in the format for Atlanta and whatever, but we started just jamming games against each other. And then the Tord and I started coming to like some ideas with Ogre Box, because the deck just like, we're like, what if we put this card in to fix this flaw? What if we put this card in to fix this problem? And it all started like coming together when we went to like lunch. Like, we went to lunch, and I think we all went to card stores and just started buying every card for both decks. So I actually have a full Dragapult deck in Japanese as well.
Because you have to play in Japanese.
Yeah, Japanese
language.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though you're from America, you can't use English cards.
And there's like only one judge there who also speaks English. So if we had an issue, it was gonna be a real issue.
Okay. Okay.
So we got our decks, we bought everything. And I think the biggest thing we were all missing was energy switches, which was really funny. And then we got back, and I think I played like 5 more games in a 5-game with Ogre won all 5. Then Tord and I sat down and we played 4 games, and I beat him all 4. And then he just looked at me and goes, all right, let's play Ogre. So we lay out the list. We start talking about it, and we kind of come to like Tord wants the bear. Noah wants the Terapagos. Like everyone has a use case for certain cards. And so we put it all together. And I remember like we had a pal pad in because we were really, really scared of for Alligator in particular. Because for Alligator seemed like it was a deck that has and I mean this. I think it's a really strong deck for Atlanta too. Like it's really, really scary. So we were like 1 boss, 1 pal pad. And so then, we were locked in for the tournament. We didn't really expect walls to be too big. We were correct for day 1. But the important thing you guys got to know is that you can switch decks from day 1 to day 2. So a lot of players, like the player, I think one of the players who went 7-0 in the first day was playing like Bolt. Like there was a lot more Bolt in day 1. A lot of Bolt. And those players were not playing Bolt in day 2. Let me tell you. Because like I remember Tord mentioned like one of the guys who was playing Bolt was playing Walls the next day. And so people, I think like once you get to those positions, you expect people to be playing more real decks. So you take the gamble on like, I'm not hitting random stuff that loses, like that beats the wall decks. I've already gone through the early rounds of regionals. I can play a wall deck that there's an expected better for me now. So that was a little bit of a blindside for us as well.
Yeah. Interesting.
So it kind of like our meta prediction kind of came true, but I don't think we were ever winning the tournament because of how much walls there was. And the Charizard matchup was something we actually didn't put time into, and we realized it was pretty bad as well as the tournament progressed.
Yeah, again, just wild how, right? He's like, hey, this one on City League on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the tournament's what, Friday or Saturday? Which
Saturday,
like,
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday. It's like, all right, let's try this, and just putting the other cards. I love your like.
It was one of the most like
came
powerful
together.
cards, like decks I've played in a long time. So it just made like obvious sense, but it was really cool that it all came together the way it did.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess real quick, and this kind of transitions a little bit to Atlanta, but not too much. How did you feel like during testing? What ideas did you guys come up with for like Dragapult or Bolt to solve for Lily's Clefairy? Were there any unique ideas you guys tested out and didn't work, or what are your kind of thoughts on Lily's Clefairy as a whole into the meta?
It feels like the card is really good, but it's like kind of niche in how you like splash it into decks. So with Pult, it kind of felt like Stamp was really good into it because either you can do it after they Clefairy the first time, or you can do it before they Clefairy the first time for a lot of decks because they can't really produce a new one. And the decks that were using Clefairy at the time of our testing were like Zard had it as like a tech option. Terrabox wasn't really a deck yet. For Terrabox, obviously the bigger problem is like if they draw out of the Stamp anyway, you lose with as Dragapult a lot of the time. And then in like we kind of were just like there's like a flow chart to the new meta where like Fan Rotom is an insanely good attacker, for example, from Bolt's side. So you don't actually have to give a 2-prizer up early, and you make like the Lily's Clefairy pair like look for a way to gust and do it on the same turn. Yeah. Which like stunts their setup as well. So it's kind of like a lot of column A, column B. Like we have but the card isn't nearly as good as people think it is. It is very playable and very like strong when you need it. It's really hard to find stuff in this new format. Like it's really difficult when you don't have Luminion, when you don't have like
or Sealstone,
these pieces that like find you what they used to find you. Like even Pokestop that dug you deeper. Like you don't have that dig anymore. Like every deck is like 30 cards at the end of the game now, which is like a very unique problem that does exist.
Okay.
Interesting. Again, we talked about tournament structure. So we already mentioned there's only one judge that spoke English, but break down a little bit of the tournament structure for us, right? Like, what did you like about it? What did you dislike about it compared to how things are out west? I mean, for anyone who isn't familiar, maybe just give us like a little brief overview to like what it's like even playing in a Champions League.
So to kick off, there was obviously there's a 5,000 something people, like 5,400 masters, I believe. And so Saturday only masters play. So juniors and seniors don't touch the tables till Sunday. And their whole tournament's a 1-day tournament.
Oh, their whole day tournament. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, whole tournament's a 1-day tournament.
Are they bigger than ours on the juniors and seniors too?
Yeah. They're probably like closer to like 1,100, 1,200 each division.
Okay, wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
So quite a bit of people as well. For us, we were split into 3 pods. And so the way the pods worked is pods A and B are like groups A and B. began at 9 a.m. And then Group C began at 2. So ideally, you wanted Group C if you were, living there or whatever, because you get to sleep in, take some time, chill. Group C ended up being a pretty big problem for myself and Tord because we were jet lagged. And we were jet lagged in the way that we were both up at 6 a.m. So I was up at 6, sent Fabian and his brother off to, battle. And then, I got some breakfast. I remember, finishing my breakfast, took a nice shower in the morning, laid back in bed. I turned on a Zool stream who was watching Champions League. And then I remember I was talking in the chat and he's like, "Are you supposed to be playing?" And I'm like, "Nah, I got some hours." I chilled for a little bit. Tord messaged me. I tried to sleep, couldn't go back to sleep. Tord messaged me like 10. He's like, "Yo, you want to get breakfast/lunch?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go get lunch." So we picked up some lunch and then we walked 30 minutes to the venue. But it was a huge nerf because we couldn't even check in, I think, until 12:30 is when our check-in window opened for Group C. And so for that, it was a little bit unique for us because we had to get there, check in, and then kind of wait till pairings went up. And so playing in Japan, there's a couple of unique things you guys gotta remember that we don't do over there. So rather than rolling a die, it's rock paper scissors to decide who goes first.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn that motion?
We Tord and I were both practicing for 2 days straight. Yeah. And then
Let's grind the Dragon Ball matchup. No, we gotta practice rock,
Yeah.
paper, scissors.
Yeah. Fabian kept making sure we did it and in testing too. It was really funny.
That's so funny.
And then it's best of 1, not best of 3, all the way through the entire tournament.
Yeah.
So 1 game, that's all you get. Another unique thing is that before the game starts, you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want to your opponent's deck without looking at it, right? So you can pile shuffle it, you can do whatever. So I had a fair bit of number of opponents pile shuffle my deck, and you're not allowed to cut after. And so cutting is not very common in Japan. It got a little bit better towards day 2 and the top tables where people kind of understood that cutting is normalized. But in the early rounds, if you went to cut your opponent's deck on it reflex, they'd be like, "What are you doing, man?" So a little bit of something that's I was not used to either.
Interesting, yeah.
And then time is very different there because it's 1 game, 25 minutes, and they
No
wait for
turns.
every single player to set up before they start in day 1. So the round turnaround time was pretty equivalent to what we have here, but it was a lot more of sitting and just staring at your opponent for 20 minutes.
And you can't speak Japanese really, so you're not really
Yeah.
talking.
A couple of my early round opponents were trying to shoot the shit with me, and I was just like, "Yo, I know very basic conversational Japanese." I basically was saying I'm from America. I'm having fun here, smiley face. And then so they wait for every single person. So you kind of weren't in a rush to get to your table realistically. And the first couple rounds, Tord and I were kind of on fight or flight mode where it's pairings are up, we gotta go. Because RKI will just Western Regional will just start you no matter what. Wasn't like that. I remember 1 round pairings went up round 4 or 5. I went to the bathroom and I came back. I sat down and I still had 15 minutes to go. It's people take their time. They wait for every single player to fully set up, and judges are walking around consistently going, "Make sure you have 7 cards. Make sure you have 6 prizes out. Make sure you have your opening is a basic."
Basic,
And then every time you do an Iono or whatever to draw cards, whatever, you lay out those cards and say, "These are how many," and then you pick them up.
right.
Which is one thing that I really like because it stops "Oh, I drew an extra card. I do whatever." And if a gameplay error or a board state error occurs, the judges will do as much as they can to reverse the game state before issuing a penalty of any sort.
Love
So
that.
one of my opponents drew 2 to start the turn, and very simply they just took those 2, they took the prize cards, shuffled everything back into the deck, reset out the prize cards. They get to keep their opening hand, and then just drew 1 card.
Hmm.
And they give us 3 minutes to keep playing.
Cool. Yeah.
So very simple stuff. If there's no winner at the end of the 25 minutes, it's 25 minutes. Like I said, it's equal turns. So whoever goes second gets an additional turn when time is called. So if you are the player who went second and time is called on your turn, the game will end on your turn. If you're the player who went first and time is called on your turn, the player who went second will get 1 additional turn and then the game will end. If there is no clear winner, it is a double game loss. And double game loss, resistance does reset between day 1 and 2. It is a separate tournament, like our old structure used to be. So day 1 it's not as relevant, but in day 2, a double game loss is damning because your resistance tanked, you now have a loss on top of it. So it's better to scoop in those situations sometimes. This was actually the first Champions League where when time was called, you were actually allowed to scoop. Before that, if time was called, you were not allowed to concede.
Really?
Yeah, you were not allowed to pick up your thing and say, pack it up. Also, everything was done phone, so pairings were phone. It was really, really cool. Um, you had an individual populated pairings link. So it's not like the Arcanine pairings were available to everyone. It was individually to players, which I think is a really good thing. It does like kill things like Pokédata and stuff like that for us if we had that, because those just scrape the data. So it'd be a private thing where your individual QR code that you use to check in will populate you a pairings page because you're the only person who can report on that page, which I think was really cool. It's like having a Bandai app thing, which I like as well. And they could probably program like a very simple page for like a viewer to look at as well. But that was a really cool thing because I was like, "Oh, can I see pairings?" I'm like, "I can't share this with you because like you can report my match for me, and that's not like I can't have that happening." Match would end. Both players, first thing we did was pull out our phones. Winner would mark win, show the opponent, thumbs up, hit yes, and the loser would just like, "Yep, agree." And then the loser would get a notification saying, "Do you accept this match result?" If there's a conflict, you walk up to the hive or whatever there is and talk to them. There was a pretty big hive, running all 3 pods, which was crazy, and then the following day running masters and then junior seniors. A lot of judges, like pretty much every row of like 10 tables had like a judge or 2 assigned to it. And then each table had like a thing up there that said like tables X to X are here, table X to X are here. So like as you're walking in the row, you don't have to like wander around looking like
Trying to see the table, like, are they going up or down?
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I think that's like the general gist of how it was to play. So, but yeah, so Group C is kind of when we kicked off. And the tournament structure for day 1 is you have to go X2 to move on. And
Yeah.
once you hit your 3rd loss, you do not get to
You're
keep
dropped,
competing.
right?
You're
You're dropped. Yeah.
You're not told to like get out of here or anything. You're dropped and you can kind of just like walk around and explore for a little bit, but they don't want you in the play area really. And there was 2 buildings at this particular venue where like one building was for like
Main event.
the merch, retail, whatever. There was like those big card figures, big gotcha machines, like a lot of stuff to do. And then the other building was for a main event. And yeah. And there was, I think the sides were in the other building too. Like there was like side games and stuff in the other building as well.
Cool. That's pretty awesome
That's
to hear. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever have the opportunity to go, but I mean, it sounds awesome.
It was a very different experience.
Yeah.
Curious about like how did the top tables feel, right? You know, when you're pushing towards, you know, in day 2 when it's a little bit more of like the serious crowd, especially like pushing towards the top, you know, like I guess what is that experience like? Is it any different than in the West, or is it very different?
It was closer to what it was like in the West. I think where it's like more people were open to flipping coins, more people were cutting decks. My opponents like towards like the last couple rounds were shuffling my deck. Early rounds, like it's like super taboo to like touch your opponent's deck and shuffle. And I don't really know how to like ask properly to be like, "Yo, let me shuffle your deck." So I just don't care. Like if you're gonna cheat against me, man, whatever, go for it. So like it was really cool towards the last couple rounds. I mean, I was X3 pretty early on in day 2. So I was eliminated from top cut chances entirely pretty early on. But like playing my last couple rounds, there's still a lot on the line. Like getting a nationals invite in Japan is very difficult. And no one wants to go through the lottery process. You either win a League Cup, and in Japan, you're only allowed to play 1 cup a quarter. You can sign up for the cup you want, but there's no guarantee you get into the one you want first off. So it's like me signing up for, I don't know, let's use like Florida as an example. Like, I want to sign up for the Orlando Cup because I live by Orlando. Oh, didn't get in. You got to go play in Sarasota. Have
Wait,
fun.
you said you wanted to sign up for the Nakama League Cup? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
you can sign up for the Nakama League Cup. Oh, I didn't get in. I got to go to like Sarasota now. Like, good luck.
We'll have you anytime, Rahul. We'll have you anytime.
So it was like one of those, and like if you don't win a cup, you can't like you don't get an auto invite to nationals. And obviously only playing 1 a quarter is a little bit difficult. There's always like ways to like beat the system, right? Like some players can sign up for some out in the boonies and go all the way out there. But again, that's the challenge of like now you're on like a Saturday morning going like 4 hours by train into like bumfuck nowhere, playing best of 1. And you could also just get punished because it's best of 1 and instantly get a loss and get out of there. But yeah, so nationals is very important for these people. So like the last couple rounds, you could see like the pain on people's face, like as you're beating them at like X3, like going to X4, a lot of emotions at the table more than the West, in my opinion. Because our breaker's a little weird. No one really knows what's going on. We have a lot more events and opportunities to play. These guys don't have those events and opportunities to play. So a lot more emotion showed at the tables. Like you were my last round opponent, like I felt pretty bad because like I kind of like just Giga sacked him. It was Zard, and like I could just kind of see it on his face where like knock him down to 11-4 means that he has no shot at Japan nationals. And you know, just it's a little bit quieter, a lot less speaking at the top tables, a lot more respect. And people are just kind of locked in. The best of 1 just makes it so like some turns take a lot longer just because everyone's thinking a little bit more, but there's like not much you can do about that because you do but you are given 25 full minutes to play the game.
Yeah, should be
so-
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And we know it's a nice, it's difficult to play, not a lot of opportunities, but you did do well enough where you do get another opportunity to play. So
Yeah.
so you're going back to the next Champions League,
I
right?
am,
This next one coming up.
Yeah, so the
So-
way the pricing works in Japan is there's no cash prizing. So we're playing for the love of the game out there. There's 5,400
Mhm.
people who show up to play for the love of the game. If you make it to the final round, so not even advancing to day 2, so if you make it to round 7, like, hey, congrats, you're in round 7. They handed out a stamped, I think it was Scizor EX promo for this one, which you probably sell for like $40-50. I don't know. There's probably a ton of them, but got a stamped Scizor EX. Like, hey, cool. Like, you're on your winning in, or you're already in day 2. Like, congrats. Like, they did a players meeting before round 7. Like, they then oh yeah, also weird thing. After day 1 and day 2, when we finished, you got put into a standings, and you had to go sit where your standings were. And they walked around and gave everyone a physical sheet
Yeah.
of paper
Yeah.
that said, like, here's what you have to do for tomorrow. Here's the time you have to be back. Here's how to submit a day 2 list. Please make sure you go through and resubmit a list, because your list from today does not auto submit back to tomorrow. So a lot of small things where, like, they physically make sure you have all this information, and then you have to stay seated till everyone gets the papers, and then they go, all right, everyone, see you tomorrow. And for day 2, they did the same thing where, like, they walked around, gave everyone the little ticket to go get their prizing. And so day 2, if you got to 10 wins, you get the opportunity to come back and compete again in the next Champions League. So you had to go 10-5, which seems like an easy task, but everyone knows that anything can happen in a day 2. And then you took your prize tickets. If you got over 10 wins, you got a ticket to go get the exclusive promo for each individual Champions League. This one was an enhanced hammer, I believe. And so you get in a line. They had lines already pre-set up while the final players meeting was going on. Where they already took the top 32. They prized out the top 32 first, and then the top 16 gets deck checked. And they already get sent into cut. So while I was getting prized out, Tord already started his game. So when you guys were watching stream or whatever, and like they had already kicked off top 16, they were already playing, and we were still getting prized out. And so then they set up like little stands with like 33rd to 64th, like 65th through 128th, like whatever, like the next increment. And so people just line up respectfully. You go up, you show them that, you show them your unique QR code. They click on your profile, make sure that's you. Like they click through your phone to make sure like that's who you are. And they hit like a button on your phone, and then they prize you out, and they say like congratulations, and then you move on.
Wow.
Yeah. So top 32 is did they get like packs or
So top 32 gets an invite to the Japan National Championship, which is what they're coveted for. So they get a little piece of paper that says like you're invited, blah blah blah. And I think it like reflects on their account as well.
yeah.
They get a exclusive pack of these like green like sleeves that I believe are like only exclusive to that top 32 Champions League. So they're worth quite a pretty penny. And then they're given I don't think an additional promo. I don't think top 16 gets an additional promo either. I think it was top 8, I believe, got a stipend to attend nationals. I don't think that the Western players are eligible for that. And then top 4 is a World Championship invite. Only top 4 is a World Championship invite. And there is no pass down.
5,000 person tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, only top 4 gets a World Championship invite.
Crazy.
And they have these like prize cards as well that I think are probably worth a pretty penny as well.
Interesting. But no like booster boxes or
No booster boxes, no cash, nothing.
Crazy.
The retail line had basically what they would have like a normal Pokemon Center, not like the plushies and stuff. But they had like that you could buy packs, and you could buy exclusive sleeves. Like I believe they had the Dreepy Poffin sleeves. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only place you can get them, not the Pokemon Centers. So I picked up a couple for people to bring home for.
Cool.
And they had like the max of like 5 loose packs or whatever. So I was like, I'll get 5 packs at Surgeon's price, like whatever. Something nice to take home with me.
Perfect. So real quick, we know you're gearing up again. You're going back to another Champions League since you qualified. So like how are you going to apply like what you've learned so far, like for the next Champions League? Is your prep changing, or are you just saying, hey, I'm just going to fly in and see what Fabian gives
Get the
me?
deck on Wednesday. Yeah.
This time Fabian did not actually make it through because he went 4-3 at the last one. He was actually our victim to walls. He lost the 3 wall decks.
Oh no.
We
we
found
found
out
out
play
pretty-
Cornerstone.
Yeah, we found out pretty quickly that was a pretty bad matchup. And then we didn't adjust for day 2 either. We didn't care. None of us hit 1, so we were good. But this time around, myself, Tord, and some of the Japanese players that we've been friends with are kind of like just already in a group chat talking, because that same group chat from before exists. So some of the players, Noah, Carter, Fabian, did not get into this one, but they were like, we're willing to help and test and kind of like give you guys our insights on stuff. I think Noah has his City League, so that's a cup coming up here soon, around the time of the Champions League. So he's already putting his like front foot forward because it's one of his 4 chances to qualify for nationals, right? So you don't want to like squander that. And then we have Lucas Zing, who qualified, got in this time through the lottery as well.
Awesome.
Him and Grant Shen are actually going to be there coincidentally for their spring break. so they are kind of just lining up for it. So the two of them are also like kind of added to the group of like people helping us
Nice.
out.
You're fine.
Yeah, one of our Japanese friends over there, Tomoki, he ended up setting up a Discord for everybody. And so there is a Discord that exists. We're talking in there. It's a little bit funny because like there's a lot of translation, like lost in translation kind of thing. But it's like today is like day 3 of their meta, right? Like cards came out on
Right.
Friday. They were allowed to be used on Friday, by the way. So like you go open
Yeah.
your box, go to locals that night, and play your like Ethan's Ho-Oh deck. You could play your Cynthia's Garchomp deck the same day. If you had a City League that day, you have to play those cards. So obviously, setting up for a City League on those days is a very net negative unless you were a really good player that really knows what the meta is. But even then, it's best of one because so you don't know what you're playing into. So for me, I'm going to be looking at some cards. I'm personally not going to put a ton of stock into it because Stockholm and Brisbane are coming up, and I'd like to put
Right.
effort into those. Obviously, I think it's some of my best chances to win regionals, both being much smaller than a lot of the ones we played. Stockholm at less than 1,000 masters, Brisbane at 500, 600 people total. So like both those tournaments are good chances for me to kind of go deep. And this time I get to Japan and I'm spending a whole day doing sightseeing in like a mountainous like hot spring area.
Awesome.
So by the time I get to the venue, it'll be like Thursday evening. And meet up with the same gang, kind of see where our heads are at. Worst case, send Pulse kind of thing. A skill-based deck that we can all be good with. I know Tor's already looking at cards. I know that Lucas is already looking at cards, and I know the Japanese guys are looking at cards. So
I'm saying Goldingo Typhlosion, Ethan's Typhlosion looks pretty good.
yeah, someone posted that list the other day. I was
It
like
is
reading through the
all
cards.
over these City League pages.
Ethan's engine seems quite good. Seems
Well, we
like
had
an
a
early
Future Hands
contender.
win last night too. Future Hands
Okay.
is back.
Early contender for being quite good. But and
Yes,
also
sir.
like I'm keeping in mind too that this is only half of our May set
Yeah.
for NAIC, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think about that we're having another set coming up. Like this is pre-release weekend, by the way, boys. Like
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
America, and
Yeah.
there's gonna be another set out in like 2 months. So there's gonna be another pre-release weekend in like 6
And
weekends.
don't we get
Yeah.
another set before Worlds too? Like
Yeah, we do.
so
There's gonna be a bunch of sets like in this
Where
little.
we get so used to like the over the holiday break where it's like
Yeah.
31st, like yeah, we do nothing, and it's like and we just get cards back to back now. So-
Exactly. So the next half of the set will come out later. So I'm not putting a ton of stock into this one. It's kind of like I'm hoping I have fun and whatever comes out of it comes out of it because the next Champions League is in Nagoya, which is in May. So even if I get to the 10-5 mark, I won't be able to attend to that one because in May I've got Milwaukee, Portland, and the weekends that are not Milwaukee, Portland, I've got a friend's wedding, Michael Slutsky, the
yeah.
competitor player. So I gotta kind of do some adult stuff there. So
Well, Rahul, I gotta bring you back down to earth a little bit.
yeah.
I need you to lock in, bro. We're trying to get a
Okay,
win.
okay.
We're trying to
Yeah,
get a dub.
I got a regional win to get to. You know, we got Stockholm and Brisbane.
Hey, we're gonna win Stockholm, we're gonna win Brisbane, and we're gonna win Champions League. Like
Yeah,
back to back to back.
I'm gonna
all
win a
right?
three-peat. Would
There
that
you
even
go.
count? If I win a Champions League, would that count as a regional win?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna count
Yes.
that.
I think it needs to. I think if we break finals, it should count as regional win.
Yeah,
honestly.
we'll
Yeah.
count it. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, if you win it, it probably counts as like an IC top 4.
like actually.
Like
Yeah.
actually. So let's jump over to we've got Atlanta coming up.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
obviously, you whether you like it or not, right now, you and Tord are like the people who know everything, and
Yeah.
we weaklings know nothing because there's no data. We haven't played in a tournament yet. So going into this tournament, what are your thoughts on like, how the meta is going to be based off of, what happened in Japan? Like, do you feel like the meta is going to be Dragapult, Bolt, Ogre Box, like top 3, or like what's your read on the meta going into Atlanta?
I think a lot of people are going to take what my words and Tor's words very strongly, and I think both of us are very convinced on the fact that Ogre Box is quite broken. I don't think it's the easiest deck to play, and I think the mirror is incredibly complicated, very dynamic. So those are 2 aspects where I think that might turn people off when they actually start playing games with the deck. But right now, I feel like everyone's talking about Ogre Box, like it's a hot deck on the block. Format's hard to figure out until you actually start playing games. Like I feel like once you start playing games, you realize like the flaws of the format and like how glass canny a lot of stuff is. Pult is definitely up there with Ogre Box. I think I'm very curious to see how people break Zard because I think Zard has the potential to be absolutely broken because it has a really good matchup in the Terra box if it gets to win the flip. If it loses the flip, obviously you're cooked. But having a 50-50 into like one of the best tier S decks is fine. But the problem is that Pult is probably also a bad matchup. So if you can somehow find a way to deal with one of those 2 consistently, then maybe Zard is really good. I think there's going to be a lot more walls than people expect week 1 because it's a very simple deck to play. People are going to love just putting their Photograph or Milotic in the active spot and saying, hey, do something about it. And you're going to get a lot of free wins. So I think walls, even though I think it's not the best deck, will have a pretty big presence. I don't think people will play a lot of Gator. I think it's a really funny deck. I think it's really strong. I'm probably gonna take it some cups here and there if I get a chance to, but I don't think people will bring that compared to just like straight walls because I think it's like a little bit more complex. Once you start adding complexity, people just don't like that. I
Yeah.
do think there's a lot of bolt believers out there. I'm just curious to see how people adapt because there's clearly two tier S decks that are going to be incredibly oppressive in their own individual rights. It's just how are you going to be able to deal with this, given the limited resources we have after rotation?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned for alligator, and I'm not sure if you remember this, but the last time you were on this podcast, you said Totodile was your favorite starter.
Yeah.
So are you going to be sleeving up for alligator to go to a regional here soon?
Not a regional. I mean, if I win Atlanta or Monterey, maybe we'll think about it for Milwaukee or Portland. But I'd have to win something first.
I mean, you said the deck is very strong.
It is very strong.
So what's taking you away from it?
No reps, I think is the big thing. Because after this podcast, guys, whenever this goes live, I'm the Wednesday the 19th. I'm heading off for 5 weekends of 5 tournaments in a row, so I won't get
That's
really
fair.
a chance to breathe. And I'm pretty open about the fact that I'm locked into Ogrebox. My like 58, 59 are like pretty locked up.
Yeah.
I'm very confident with the list that I played in Japan. I'm very confident with how each individual matchup should go in the meta. And it's one of those things where like I have already played this. I played 7 mirrors while in Japan, and I only lost 1. And let me tell you guys, I didn't win every flip. I only won like 3 of the 7 flips. So everyone who says like the mirrors just say who wins the flip is wrong. There's so many small nuanced things you can do, and the deck is just like really fun. It's like one of the most fun I've had playing Pokemon in a long time because I love toolbox decks. Reggie's, Vespiquen, name it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty openly locked into Ogrebox for Atlanta and Monterey. So for me, it's just gonna be refining it and kind of just getting comfortable. Buying some alt arts here and there.
Yes, sir. Buy some altards.
No,
Love to
quick
hear
little
it.
10K at a regional helps the coffers for some
Yeah,
alt
the
arts as
feature's
well.
not happening until I win one.
I'm just saying you can get series 6 prize pack at the Noctiles now.
Oh yeah, true. Cosmo foils, yeah.
And Rotom and Noctiles in
I gotta
there.
get the Hoot Hoots.
So
I gotta see if those have
Oh.
Cosmos.
yeah, it depends on if you're playing the 80 HP or not.
I got a Master Ball one of that one.
Okay. There you go. That. Yeah. Anyway, so last Atlanta question. We won't spend too much of your time. Thank you for joining us here on this
Yeah, of
podcast.
course.
It's been great. We love it. But last question for you. If it's not you, because we know you're playing Ogerpon Box, what's winning Atlanta?
Pult. I think it's gonna be Box or Pult every day of the week. I think there's gonna be a lot of really good players who bring Pult, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Stamp Pult also make it pretty deep into the tournament. I do think like Brent and like the Australians have been very consistent with Dragapult, and I'm sure that they'll bring like their group will bring it. I know that a couple of them are coming, mostly because I'm staying with them early ahead of time for a couple days. So like I know that there's going to be contingents of people who are going to bring Dragapult who are very comfortable with Dragapult, and the deck is really strong. And then there's going to be people who are Ogrebox again is like a newer deck, so I think there will be room for a lot of players, no matter how practiced you are, to make mistakes on the field. So that's kind of where I think that there will be less room for innovation. I think about will be like super targeted, which happens, I'm not scared, but there could be people who just get like counted out or like targeted out as things go. Like I saw like Henry Brand tweeting about like Ting Lu the other day.
Yeah.
Like that's like okay, like counter me. It's like people playing Thorns for Lugia. Like you're gonna get me at some point, but who cares?
Yeah.
So I think it's either me or Pult.
Got it. Max, any closing questions before we give an opportunity to?
No, I think we're set. I mean, we know you're going to be on the road, and by on the road, I mean on the plains, because you're going pretty much to every continent, it seems
Gonna
like.
be flying high.
By all 5 regions, I guess, technically speaking.
Wow. So, but I guess, if you want to any quick shout outs or tell the listeners where to find you, also know you're doing some post-rotation Q&A, so give me a chance to plug that.
First off, thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure being here. Love chatting. Love yapping as long as there's people who love listening. Best way to find me is Twitter. Just the flea at THEFL4Es. And then on YouTube, just my name, Rahul Reddy. Well, I'll be like having the most content in general. And then my Metafy is just my name as well, Rahul Reddy. And the Metafy was like, I won't have as much one-on-one coaching for a little bit just because I'm traveling a ton. So I apologize for that ahead of time, guys. But that's why I'm trying to set up that Q&A that Maddox mentioned earlier, where I have a ton of questions. Like people are like obviously bombarding me. I'm trying to answer as many as I can, but some of them are just like pretty repetitive, or like I've already answered them in my like Ogrebox guide that's already out there.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where it's like I need people to kind of like catch up to the format, like play catch up and like put your hours in. And then week of Atlanta, I think the Tuesday is when I put it in. I'm doing like one final Q&A, so people can kind of like jump in, come in, ask me their questions. Hopefully I can catch you guys up because I plan on playing like even in Brisbane. Brent and I were talking about how like we're just gonna
Yeah.
spam like post rotation. Like
Yeah.
Brent's like, let's just play post rotation because we're both probably locked into the decks we're playing. And I was like, yeah, like let's just test a bunch while we're there. And like, so I've already like put my foot forward into like I'm playing this like 58 card deck for Atlanta. I know a lot more about the format than I feel like I have in a long time. Like where I don't feel lost whatsoever. Like I know what I feel like I know where a lot of the decks are going to rank in the metagame. I feel like I know where a lot of decks are going to be doing with their lists, and I'm waiting to be pleasantly surprised in Atlanta, because some of the best deck builders in the game are going to cook.
Yeah.
So come in, drop by, ask me some questions. You guys don't have to book seats or anything till like the day before. There's plenty of time, plenty of seats. And if you have just like a loose question, you guys can always DM me. I'll be on the road, on the flight a bunch, so I won't be checking my phone nearly as much. Kind of doing my best to kind of put my phone down and smell the roses a little bit more, proverbially. Taking a little bit of vlog content for everyone, taking a couple pictures for my mom so she doesn't get mad at me. And then besides that, I'm just trying to be in the moment a lot more. So
Love that.
whenever I'm back at my hotel, maybe I'll scroll through my phone a little bit and maybe I pass out, But
Yes, sir.
do what you guys got to do.
Awesome.
Hey man, thank you so much for joining. Have a great time flying high in Brisbane and Stockholm, and bringing home one more time for Lugia. But we'll get back to the podcast, back to your original content, and that was Rahul Reddy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, press the like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah,
Leave a
subscribe,
subscribe
everyone.
on his YouTube page as well. Rahul has some great content. But that's gonna do it for this interview. We'll get back to the podcast. All right, everyone. That was Rahul Reddy with his interview on what is going on in the Japan meta as well as our Atlanta meta. So I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, and subscribe below. For those of you that are still listening, I want to recall a reminder to last week's episode. There is a special keyword that you should be commenting on that video if you want to win a specific giveaway. I am not going to say anything further, but you will want to watch that video. So go back and watch that. But without further ado, I want to get into our trivia segment and kind of first thank our sponsor here, Nakama Anime Cafe, for their continued support of this podcast. We have a League Cup coming up this weekend on March 22nd at noon. Further details as far as pricing and payment will be released later this week, so stay tuned to Nakama socials. And no one, we're going to win it, right? One of us is going to win it, right? Parker, me and you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe. I don't know.
What are you playing
Fortunately-
so I can metagame you?
I don't know because like
You playing
every
Lost Zone Tina?
like all of my
How many whale lords are you playing in Lost Zone, Tina? That's what I wanna know.
I mean, shoot, maybe, but I don't know. And
And
it's
if you have any judge calls, you can just direct those towards Maddox because he'll be doing his first judge experience.
Yeah, I'm excited to judge my first League Cup at Nakama this weekend. So we're running a tight ship. So make sure you got your deck lists in. Eric and Parker, for y'all specifically, you know better.
We start at noon.
Any list errors will probably be immediately banning you from Pokemon forever. So just make sure.
DQ.
Nah, you wish it was DQ. Banning,
You
removing all
also
your
get-
points. I'm stealing your Ace Trainer promos, which you didn't talk about last week, but so
There's nothing to
no,
talk
okay.
about for those, man. I mean,
Yeah.
there's 200 points, you get a card.
Mhm.
Ooh.
But
That's
anyways,
cool.
come out to Nakama. We'd love to see y'all for the League Cup, and then also the weekend after on March 29th, we're having a card show at Nakama Anime Cafe as well. We'd love to see y'all. Again, reach out to us on Twitter if y'all have any questions. I know a lot of folks live locally, so you got more questions about that. You can't quite find the details you want. Let us know. We'll hook you up.
All right, well, so let's jump into our trivia segment. Are you guys ready to get this wrong?
No.
I am Rahul ready to win this question.
Well, speaking of Rahul Reddy, this question is about Rahul Reddy.
Oh, wait, no shot.
Vespaquin.
Okay, how much money
Lugia
within
V-Star.
$2,000 has Rahul Reddy won according to Limitless.com playing Pokemon?
41 grand. Boom.
So I did my I did my homework since I was in the interview for Rahul. So I did like remember the number approximately, and actually it was funny because I was comparing it to how much money Reagan Retzloff had made because that was where we're looking at Lugia lists. So I'm pretty sure I do know the exact number. So
Dang
Parker,
it.
I will say
Bro,
you are
skill
low
diff.
if you want to try a little higher number. We're trying to fly a
Not
little
really
higher.
low. That's crazy, actually. I just threw out the first number that came into my head.
I got completely
you said
skill
I'm
depth on this
low?
question, bro.
Yeah, you're.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're lower than the number.
That's too low.
We're almost there. We're not at it's too much yet.
Let's go 57,000. Boom.
I mean, you would get it right if you guessed that for sure.
Wait, is
Yeah.
it actually?
It's 59,000.
Oh,
But you would be within the 2,000 threshold. Max, I spoiled it for you, but I could tell you knew. So, yeah, Rahul Reddy has won $59,000 playing Pokemon cards.
And honestly, there's
Crazy.
other tournaments that aren't even like tracked and limitless. So like,
Yeah.
you know, there could be more there. Plus, I know he's had travel awards and travel stipends, things like that.
Exactly.
So, shout out to him living the dream, and like you said, he's traveling the next 5 weeks. So, want to make sure you're following him and send him some love on his adventures.
Yeah, hopefully be flying high. Anyways, while Parker's guess was too low, our next segment is all about that's too much.
Yeah. So again, here we're jumping into a little bit of not Family Feud. You all were saying Family Feud later. It messed me up. Some of The Price is Right. Again, that staple sitcom, daytime television. So the way that this game works is I'm going to be showing a couple of cards that are in our current standard format. Some are going to be your base rarities, or some of the alternate arts, or even a booster pack. And you'll have to guess the retail price, the market price of that as of TCG Player today, March 16th. 2025. So Parker won our coin flip before we started, so Parker will be going first. And again, Parker, how it's going to work is, we're going to show you numbers. You'll either say keep going one more, or that's too much. Once you hit that's too much, that means that you've hit a number that is just a little bit over the current market price of that card.
What are we winning today?
Today you are winning. I don't have a full box of all on me, but the winner of will be getting a pack of FCBC sleeves. FCBC, shout out to FCBC and Brian and the team over there for sending us some of these FCBC sleeves. I've been enjoying them a lot lately. I played them all in February. We're going to do a lot more with them in the future. So shout out to Brian, FCBC, and Eric Parker, one of y'all will be winning the extras. So
I hope I win them.
I got y'all a couple, but there's one more pack that I meant to give out to y'all. So whichever one of you wins this, we'll get the actual pack that I forgot to give.
Yeah, I hope I win because those sleeves are fire. I do like
bro,
them.
you're going down, son. I'm
Oh,
going
sir.
for those.
All right, we'll jump right into it. Parker, you're up first. Our first card for That's Too Much is none other than the latest playable staple that is sneaking up in price a little bit, actually. So we have a Night Stretcher. So first number up on the board, 99 cents. Is that
Next
just over the
one.
price? You think one more? All right.
Next one. $1.31.
$1.89. Are we
Next
too much
one.
yet? Next one. $2.14. Are we still too high?
I think next one.
Next one more famous last words. $2.42. Is that too much?
I mean, to be fair, right? I'm gonna help you, Parker. Here. I don't know the number, but I'm gonna help you. It got reprinted, right, in this last set.
The price?
Right, in Prismatic? Isn't it in Prismatic?
It did not get
Oh,
reprinted.
It's not.
get
It's not
reprinted.
reprinted.
Oh, that changes things.
I think that's too much. I think that's where I stop.
All right. Is that too much? Is that the right one? Let's check our answers. And he got it. We have Night Stretcher right now is at $2.38. So $2.42 is just too much. So yeah, again, I learned that this card costs more than I wanted to when I was trying to buy something. I'm like, wait, they're like $2.50 each. I'm like, what's going on? But I mean, because like it seems like so many decks are just like playing 4 of these now.
There's a lot of decks playing 4 of them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know we're seeing a lot less like turbo decks these days, but I think it's interesting that a lot of cards are saying, hey, I can just run this Night Stretcher engine, especially decks like Archaludon, or it seems like every deck's running at least a couple. All the Terror Box decks, all Noctowl decks, you can find them. So pretty
every deck, yeah.
Pretty strong card. I kind of didn't expect this to be as impactful when it came out.
I didn't either, actually.
As it has been.
I mean, like historically in format, like Rescue Stretcher was a great card, because you could like put 1 to hand or 3 to deck.
Or 3 in deck, yeah.
Like that was so strong. I mean, just the inherent ability. I think what's made this card so good for so long right now is the fact that like Pokestop was in format.
Yes.
You're just like, oh, Pokestop, sick, Night Stretcher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a card that's gonna, until it gets reprinted, it's gonna stay around 250.
Might even keep going up, honestly.
Yeah, we'd love to see a reprint. I know it's in the latest prize pack, so I started pulling some stamped ones. So looking forward to those. All right,
Yeah.
well, good stuff. Well, Eric, Parker got first point on the board. We got to see
Got
if we can
some
keep
work
up.
to do.
And you mentioned the set already. So, and
Oh,
of course,
boy.
the hottest set we're talking about,
Oh, boy.
Prismatic Evolutions, right? So
A
pack
pack?
of one
Oh,
pack
God.
of Prismatic Evolutions, right?
Okay, all right.
Now, a little bit of a tricky one, right? You know, you never really know these days.
Yeah, yeah,
So
all right.
let's get things started. So first off, $4.99
Yeah,
MSRP.
right. Yeah, right.
Is that too much? Is that too much? What do you
That
think?
is not enough. Not even close to enough. Keep
All
going,
right.
bud.
$7.42. Creep
Still
up a
not
little
enough.
bit.
It's over 10 for sure.
$9.61.
No, another one up.
$10.78.
Jesus. Let's see. Booster bundles are like 75. That's 6 packs.
Parker, help him out.
We're looking at like
Keep
12.
going.
We're looking at like 12. We're looking at like 12 something a pack if you buy it in a bundle. So I'm gonna go up one more.
At $11.94 for one pack of Prismatic Evolution.
Dang. Okay, so last time you had Parker go 5 times, and that's when it was the right answer.
You think I did 5 for all of these?
No, I mean, I don't know. You are very OCD, so like you do the same stuff a lot. I don't know. In my head, it's gonna have over 12 as a price point, so I'm gonna go up one more.
All right, $12.85.
That's too much.
That's too much. We're locking in a too much at $12.85. Eric, did you get it? Yes, he did.
$12, baby.
Prismatic Evolution, the pack goes for $12.75.
Yeah, I just kind of had like over 12 like in my head as we were kind of itching up and like, wow, look at that, peaked at 17.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, obviously we know Prismatic Evolution's been all over the place, but $12.75 a pack is kind of wild. But Eric knew that. He had that $12 number locked down.
The high sale price at 20 is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish I was that person who got that that 676. That
676
Yeah.
pack.
Yeah, I mean,
No, they
It was probably just the wrapper. Probably
It
wasn't.
was probably like a resealed pack with like nothing. Yo, have you seen the thing these days on Whatnot they're doing on how they're like checking for hits, man?
What?
They've got like there are these like metal detectors nowadays and like scanning the pack and like I don't know, the foil or whatever kind of triggers it. I don't know, man.
I mean, is this price is this price going back down ever?
It's going down a little. They're getting. There's still prismatic stuff.
I mean,
coming out.
like,
you think I'm
you
getting
can
to
see-
$7 a pack on this ever?
No, I don't
Probably
think it's-
not.
No, I mean, I think the
Wow.
lowest it ever gets is like less than 10. If you get packed for less than 10 right now, you're probably winning. Which, you know, if you want to win 6 packs, just take yourself back over to our previous episode and leave the magic word in the comments. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough. Like I'm never paying this. Like I got lucky getting those in my from Pokemon Center at retail. So I just won't pay these prices. I don't understand why people do because you open these packs and some of them just don't have hits. But like, I mean, let's see.
But you could.
You could have the Umbreon, which Parker, that's next for you. On that's too.
No, going to alt art Pokemon cards would be too much. So, anyways, Parker. Next up, we had Rahul Reddy, and of course, Terrabox, the standout attacker being the Wellspring Ogerpon. So, back from Twilight Masquerade, right? We have our alternate art Wellspring Ogerpon EX. Again, maybe a card that some folks are looking to pick up as you maybe are sleeving up Terrabox for Atlanta or something like that. So we're gonna see what do y'all think the price of this card is. So, Parker, you ready to roll?
Yeah, we were doing specifically that one, right?
Yes, this specific
Okay.
art, the alternate art from Twilight Masquerade. So
All right.
$12.58. You locking down this card for $12.50?
Absolutely not.
Well,
I'd love to.
1504.
Keep going.
Got 1783. Oh, he's thinking.
I
He's thinking
think
a little bit.
I think that's about what it used to be, but I think it's probably gone up a little bit because more decks are starting to play it,
All right.
and that set just got more expensive.
1927. He's thinking.
He's thinking.
No, let's keep going.
One more. We got 2055.
No, let's keep going.
Keep going. You have 2213.
I think I'll call it there. I
All
think
right, you
that's
gotta
too
say-
much.
That's too
That's
much.
too much.
2213.
Wait. I'm gonna put a guess. I'm gonna put a guess in.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure he's wrong. I'm confident in this. I looked at this card yesterday. 1927 is too much.
Well, Parker guessed to 2213, and not quite there. A little bit too high. The retail price of a Wellspring Ogerpon of this art
It was like
is
$19.
$19.20. So honestly, the fact that you could like snag this card for like $20, honestly, I think not that bad. I do think the art is pretty cool. And honestly, I mean, a pretty playable card. I mean, do y'all have a
Yeah, I
nice
mean,
Wellspring
honestly,
Ogerpon you're
until
gonna
you
pick up?
pulled it up here, I didn't even like notice like the actual Ogerpon next to the Sob down there.
Yeah.
Wait until y'all who don't play the video game realize that this is the Ogerpon, and then this is the mask.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, chance to win here.
So, but real quick, Wellspring Ogerpon. I mean, honestly, our new Saw Block card is a basic. Seen it in Terror Box. It's being played a lot with Crystal. I mean, is this card just be one that's gonna like dominate our next format?
Blue.
I don't know, man. I mean, did Radiant Greninja dominate its format? I don't think so.
Yes.
I mean, like, no.
Wait, what kind of
Whoa, whoa,
statement
whoa,
is
whoa, whoa.
that?
Well, it did not dominate it. It was good, but it didn't dominate. There was
Okay,
so many
but-
strategies to play around it. I mean, yes, we had what?
Yeah, like playing Manaphy. And then guess what happens? Prime Catcher Cologne, knock out your two little guys.
Right, but we don't have Cologne anymore, right?
Yeah.
So now we can play the Rabska, and in the next set that's coming, we've got a basic form that does protect our bench. So I think that it may see a little bit of dominance early, but as quick as American sets are gonna come here, I think it won't see domination for too long.
Everyone think Dragon Ball players got to watch out for this one. They're choosing
sure.
second. They're worried about, turn one, they get both their creepies getting knocked out. So,
I mean, the fact that it can retreat lock is a thing, but there is no like double turbo anymore, so they'd have to use like Crystal to not do any damage.
well, that's
Still
you can
does
still do a 20.
damage.
Oh, it still does 20? Yeah, so like I mean, they don't have any way to reduce the damage, right? So, that is consequential, right? You can't saw block forever.
Or can you big bite forever? But with maybe some monkey dories, shift that damage around.
You're right.
So,
Yeah, if your opponent monkey doors the damage off of it to another thing, you can saw block almost
yeah.
infinite.
True. Almost.
all right.
right.
So we've had enough fun here. We've been playing with our fun, $2, $15, $20 cards.
Oh boy.
Hitting some of the big players now. So
Oh,
Eric,
boy.
over to you. And we've been talking about the deck that, gave Fabian some trouble in Champions League. Deck that Terror Box wasn't quite ready for, but you might need to be ready for. We're talking about Walls. Talking about the Melodic from Surging Sparks.
Oh God. All right.
So, Surging Sparks is a very popular set, very flashy full art. And I think anyone playing this card in their Walls deck it's gonna be quite the view and quite an awesome card. So starting out pretty high here, Eric. 96.74.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be over 100, so let's keep going.
All right, got 110.23.
That's a huge jump. Holy moly.
Holy macaroni.
Do I think this card is over 110? Yeah, probably. Go one more.
119.48.
120 was in my head. Why you gotta do this? 1948.
I'm making you work for it.
Keep going.
128.72.
All right, that's too much.
That's too much. So we're locking in 128.72. And not quite there. We had a lot of these numbers keep going up. We got a 136, we got a 143, we got a 150, we got a 162. Actual retail price of this card is 142.78. Yeah, I mean, a gorgeous card, but wow. Like, I guess it's because it's playable, but this card is expensive. So
Lowest sale price 100?
It went down too. It used to be more actually.
I mean, so if anyone, if you're sitting across a player who shows you this in their mulligan, not only are they a blinged out deck player, but they probably know this because they've shown up with a fully maxed out Walls deck. Got some pricey cards in there.
That's crazy.
They
But, you know, I mean-
willingly went and bought all of the max rarity card for walls.
Exactly. But I mean, talking about this card, right? I mean, Melodic EX, I mean, obviously, with its Sparkling Scales ability, you know, very good in the Dragapult, very just good neutrally, right? Even stops things like Teal Mask Ogerpon from attacking, or Charizard EX, right? I mean, is this a card that we could see running all over Atlanta?
It'll definitely
mean-
be there.
I dominated Champions League top 16. So, I mean, even low key, the effect of Hypno Slash, that's pretty
Mhm.
good too. Like,
Yeah, putting him to sleep.
if you're not knocking out something, you're putting them to sleep. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, 50% chance they can't do anything the next turn. I mean, that's
Like
just huge.
Archelodon, right? Like, that's probably where this is good.
I mean, well, Archelodon.
Probably a
You use
bad
Cornerstone,
matchup.
right? I use Cornerstone for that.
Yeah, you have to
Archelodon
go
can just,
Cornerstone.
can just attack Melodic. It's not a terror.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do.
You gotta go
Cornerstone.
Cornerstone
Yeah,
and
yeah,
hope.
Yeah.
Cornerstone, yeah. But I mean, I think because of Melodic EX and because of Walls, right, we are going to be seeing like a lot of Cornerstones slapped in. I think Walls might not stand the test of time, but again, I think it's a deck that we need to respect, especially early in the format.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we're tied 1-1. So we didn't quite get there, so we are going to have a quick little tiebreaker. So again,
Dang
in
it.
true Price is Right fashion, we're going to be guessing the closest to this retail price without going over. Let's see, Parker, since you won the flip, you get to put in your guess first. So here we have the alternate art Fezidipity EX.
That's a pretty.
What is the retail price or the current market price of Fezidipity EX alternate art? Closest to the price without going over.
$52.
52.
$1.
Ooh, Eric has seen
Dang,
some of the
he
prices
think-
right,
he
locking
thinks
in
I'm
some of the
over.
strategy.
He thinks
Question
I'm
is,
over.
how much is Fezidipity EX alternate art worth? This card is worth $47.98. So Eric should take it home just under $50. Parker, it was a close one. Eric will be receiving our extra pack of FCBC sleeves, but don't worry, Parker, we'll get you some more soon. And I know they'll be putting out some more cool products. We'll be doing more of them in the future. So appreciate them for that.
Am I getting
and,
blue? Am I getting that color? What color am I getting?
No, this is my leftover blue.
Dang.
So I got a pack of yellows for you on the side.
All right, bet.
So
Bet.
all right.
I'll put my Maridon build for Atlanta in the yellow sleeves.
There we go. Now we're cooking. So, yeah, so just wanted to mix it up a little bit. Again, we have a little bit of a break in some of the stuff that we're doing. I might bring some of this back again, but in case y'all didn't know, since Pokemon card prices are all over the place, some of the cool staples and how much they are going for.
Yeah, well, fun. Thanks for putting it together. But let's get a little serious. Let's talk about Stockholm Regional Championships happening this coming weekend, March 22nd and 23rd, over in Europe. So in Vancouver, we saw Dragapult Dusknoir take it down against Goldango in the finals. And we saw a little bit of kind of a shakeup, right? Lugia did well. There's a couple just on the outside looking in. Dragapult, of course, did well. We had Goldango do well, and Ragey Drago was right there at 9th place, Christian Labella. What do you kind of think about this, Parker? I'll start with you. I know you're a big Drago believer. What do you think about like the meta as it goes into Stockholm? Do you think there are going to be any changes in the top 6 meta that we see?
I don't know. So I don't think that, Drago's gonna like, take the world by storm, but I think that, Drago believers give it one last ride, kind of thing. And like I think it could put up results, like definitely. I'll say that I think something slightly slower will win in EU. But it's probably something along the lines of Dragapult.
Max, what are your thoughts on the meta heading into into Stockholm? You think anything's going to shift or change?
Yeah, I think the main thing going into Stockholm, right, is if anyone had any doubts, right, Goldango is a legitimate deck and is showing up here to stay. I think Dragapult, players almost seem to be a little bit concerned about it, right? Obviously, we saw Andrew Hedrick, make kind of some big play differences and capitalize on some mistakes from Lucas to take down that set. and finals. But again, Goldango's here to stay, and there are some very solid players playing it, and people will show up ready for it, especially in Europe where there's a lot of Goldango believers. I'm curious to see if we see any of the, Roaring Moons or Miraidons. Those decks typically don't see that high of play in Europe, so I'm curious if any of those will be staying out. But again, I'm kind of like Parker, right? Dragon Bolt's going to be there, Goldango's going to be there, some of these slower things are going to be there. I also think there's a good chance for maybe a couple Guardy last ride come up here soon. Saw some very good players playing a list with Devolution to have a better chance into Dragapult. I guess you already have a fine time in Dragapult, but playing more of those ability locks with Klefki and Fluttermane, mixing in the Devolution and just really leaning into like the triple monkey spread strategy. So excited to see what happens.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of predictions for you guys. Like I said, the format's coming to a close. We're saying goodbye to F block cards. So first question is, what Radiant Pokemon is in the deck that finishes in first place? And it's possible there's no Radiant, but what Radiant Pokemon are you predicting to be in first place at the end of the Stockholm Regional Championships?
If Parker's waiting, I'm just gonna jump in and say,
Yeah, go ahead.
give me Radiant Alakazam. Not a pick I would have ever expected to say, but we're seeing it play in Dragapult. We're seeing some of the Guardy builds even mix it in. Makani Tran did play the Radiant Alakazam as a way to manipulate some damage. And honestly, it's kind of hard to say beyond that. I think a Gardevoir or Dragapult could very well be taking this home with a Radiant Alakazam.
Okay.
Radiant Greninja.
Greninja, the worst Radiant ever. I'm just kidding.
Pretty safe bet.
Yeah, that is a pretty safe bet. I mean, all the other top decks are playing it. I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say Radiant Charizard.
Radiant Charger Bug? Is that what you said?
Charizard.
Okay.
Chargerbug.
Radiant Charizard. I think we're gonna see a Lugia deck
Chargerbug.
playing it. Take the whole tournament down. All right. Next up, archetypes that are rotating that are kind of like big in the format right now: Drago, Lugia, Arceus, Lost Box, Snorlax. Those types of decks that are fully rotating. Which one of those decks is most like which deck will have the highest finish, like most likely to win, but specifically which deck that is rotating will have the highest finish in Stockholm?
You got this one first.
Probably Lugia. Yeah.
Probably.
Good pick.
It's a good pick.
Probably.
Is
It depends if like
Ready with Lugia flying high.
I mean, it just depends if like some killer takes like Drago and like
Yeah.
can get through Badoo basically, like Tord played Drago or something. But
On my side, I'm going, deck I just played the locals a little bit ago. I'm going some Turbo Lost Box. I mean, listen, I think it probably loses in like top 4 or top 8 when it finally hits the Dragapult. But I think this deck is extremely good when you're being able to attack with Pikachu. Is very versatile. Obviously, you need to dodge some Badoo, and get rid of some clunky hands. But I think the deck's solid. If a good player shows up and plays it could have a deep run.
I'm gonna go with Snorlax.
Mm.
I think it's a deck that people always sleep on. And I think there's gonna be less cloth right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Any other thoughts on Stockholm meta predictions, questions, comments? I don't have too much. It's a format we've talked about on this podcast a lot. So we'll review the results next week when they come out. And best of luck to everyone going. Make sure you lock in your 60, prep on the 60. Don't mind a game too hard. Just be confident in it and understand what your matchups are. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of the Beach Court Podcast. We'll be back same time and whatever. Yeah, whatever I'm trying to
Same
say.
beach time, same beach place.
Same beach time next week. Yeah. Until then, we'll see you guys around.
all right, see ya.